I didn't expect her to open the door in bare feet. It threw me off, that tiny detail. The red polish on her toes. The silence behind her like the house was holding its breath. I hadn't seen her in over a year, not since the night of her son's going-away party, the one where I drank too much and said nothing I wanted to. But now, she was here, standing in a doorway that smelled faintly of vanilla and something older, something like memory. Her hair was pulled back, loose pieces falling around her face in that casual, dangerous way some women wear confidence. "Hi," I said, but my voice stuck to the back of my throat. She smiled, almost without showing teeth. Her eyes flicked up to mine, then down, a glance so quick I might have imagined it. And then, with the same hand she used to tuck her hair behind her ear, she reached out and touched my cheek. "I was hoping you'd come," she said. Just that. No explanation. No small talk. Just 5 words. Warm and strange and soft enough to stay with me long after her hand dropped. I stood there stupidly, backpack still over my shoulder, my car still idling down the drive. I should have said something, I don't even know what. Something clever, maybe, or grateful. But instead, I just followed her inside like it was natural, like this was something we'd rehearsed once in a dream, and now we were waking into it. Her name's Claire. She's my friend Daniel's mom. Or she was. Daniel's stationed overseas now, and he doesn't come back much. I think that's why I emailed her last week, under the excuse of checking in, just to see how she was holding up. I didn't expect her to reply. I definitely didn't expect her to say come by whenever. But the thing is, I had been thinking about her. Off and on. Maybe more on than off. The way she'd looked at me across the patio that night a year ago. Not flirtatious. Not obvious. Just seeing me. Fully. Like no one my age ever really does. Inside, her house was warmer than I remembered. A candle flickered on the kitchen counter. She poured me coffee like I was someone who came over often, handed me the mug without asking how I took it. Our fingers brushed, quick, and she didn't pull away fast enough for it to be nothing. I watched her move, the way her sweater clung too long to her shoulder when she reached up to a cabinet. She was quieter than I remembered, or maybe I was just more aware. Every silence between us felt thick, but not uncomfortable, just charged. We sat at the table, talked about nothing at first, weather, Daniel's emails, the mess in the garden. She laughed once, then apologized for no reason. Her laugh made something inside me ache. Then, while she was rinsing her cup, I caught myself watching her, noticing. She turned, like she could feel it. "What?" she asked, her voice low. Not teasing. I almost said something. I think I almost said everything. But before I could, the front doorbell rang. She froze, her hand on the edge of the sink, her eyes on mine, holding, just a second too long. And suddenly, I wasn't sure if I should have come, or if I was too late. It was just the neighbor, dropping off mail that had ended up in the wrong box. Claire thanked him, casually, and closed the door like nothing had happened. But I noticed the way her shoulders stayed slightly lifted, like she was still bracing for something. When she turned back to me, she smiled too quickly. "Sorry about that." "It's fine," I said. "I should have texted before coming by." "No, it's okay. I'm glad you're here." She meant it. I could tell. But there was hesitation in her voice, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to feel that way. We moved to the living room. She folded her legs under her on the couch, and I sat in the armchair across from her, suddenly too aware of the space between us. "You still seeing anyone?" she asked, casual. Too casual. I hesitated. "No, not for a while." She nodded, looking at her hands. Her thumb traced circles over her palm, like she was soothing herself. "What about you?" I asked, and instantly regretted it. A pause. "Divorced almost 5 years now," she said. "I've dated a little, but it gets exhausting. Pretending you're not tired. Or scared. That hung between us." I didn't say anything. I just watched her, the way she looked everywhere but at me. She kept talking, but softer now. "People assume you should be over things by a certain age. But I don't think we ever really get over things. We just carry them quieter." I felt that. More than I expected to. When my dad left, I was 14. Daniel's house became my second home after that. Claire's kitchen, her steady voice, the way she always remembered how I liked my eggs. She never made a big deal out of anything, but I always felt safe there. Like she noticed the things no one else did. And maybe that was the beginning of it. This thing between us. But it was wrong, wasn't it? Not just the age. Though yeah, she had nearly 20 years on me. But Daniel. He trusted me. She was his mom. Still, sitting there, the room quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the soft creak of the ceiling fan. I didn't feel like a kid anymore. And she didn't look at me like I was one. She leaned back, tucking her hair behind her ear again, the same way she did at the door. You always had this quiet sadness in your eyes, she said suddenly. Even when you were just a teenager. I used to worry about you. That hit something deep. I didn't know what to say. She reached over, slow, like testing the weight of a decision, and touched my knee. Just a press of her fingers through denim. Nothing more. But everything changed in that second. We both felt it, and neither of us moved. Her fingers were still on my knee when the text came through. Her phone lit up on the coffee table. Daniel. She pulled her hand back like she'd been caught. I should answer that, she said, voice thin. I watched her pick it up, thumbs hovering. She didn't open it right away, just stared at the name like it had knocked the air out of her. I stood, suddenly too aware of how close we'd been. I should go. She looked up fast. No. She hesitated, then changed course. Maybe that's a good idea. She said it gently, like it hurt. I grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair, heart thudding louder than I liked. We hadn't kissed, hadn't even said anything real, but it felt like something had cracked open, and now neither of us knew what to do with it. At the door, I hesitated. Claire. She stepped forward, voice low. This can't happen. Okay, I said too quickly. Her eyes searched mine. You know why? Because I'm Daniel's friend, I said. Because I'm younger. Because it's messy. She didn't correct me. But then she whispered, almost like it wasn't meant for me. You look too much like him when you're angry. And nothing like him when you're quiet. It froze me. I could have kissed her then. I almost did. I leaned in slightly, just enough for both of us to feel the shift. But she turned her face away, not cold, just scared. I can't, she murmured. I'm sorry. I stepped back, throat dry. I get it. But I didn't. Not really. Outside, the air felt colder than it should have. I didn't even make it to my car before I heard the door open behind me. Wait, she said. I turned. She stood there, hugging her arms to her chest. The wind played with the hem of her sweater. I didn't mean for any of this to happen, she said. You showing up? I didn't expect it to feel like this. Like what? She didn't answer. Just looked at me like she was searching for permission or a reason not to fall apart. I took a step closer, and then another. I haven't stopped thinking about you, I said, quieter than I meant to. Since that night. I thought maybe I was imagining it. But you touched me. You looked at me like. She reached out again. Not my cheek this time. My hand. We stood there, fingers barely linked, not moving, not saying anything else. And then, a voice behind us. You didn't tell me he was coming. I turned. Daniel. Back early. Back now. Daniel's voice hit me like a gut punch. Claire dropped my hand. Fast. Too fast. I stepped back, instinctively, as he walked up the path, a duffel slung over his shoulder. His brows pulled tight the second he looked between us. I texted. You didn't answer. He looked at Claire. Didn't expect company. I didn't know you were coming, she said, calmly. Too calmly. He turned to me. What are you doing here? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Claire stepped in. He was just dropping something off. Yeah. Daniel said. What? She froze. That half second too long. And then I said, just catching up. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Not angry. Just noticing. More than I wanted him to. Since when do you guys catch up without me? Claire crossed her arms. Daniel. No, I'm asking. He looked at me again. What's going on? I swallowed hard. Nothing. He nodded, like he didn't believe me. But he didn't push. Just walked past us and inside. The door swung shut behind him. Claire stared at it like she couldn't move. I should go, I said. She didn't stop me this time. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed replaying every second. The touch of her hand, the way she looked at me, the sound of Daniel's voice, cold and too close. I thought I could handle this. Thought if we just stayed quiet, careful, it would hurt less. But something cracked. And the next day, I found myself back in front of her house. I hadn't planned to come. I don't even remember driving there. But I was standing on her porch, hands clenched, jaw tight. I rang the bell. She opened it faster than I expected. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept either. "I can't do this," I said. Her face didn't change. Not much. But I saw something flicker. This, pretending it didn't happen. Pretending I don't feel what I feel every time I see you. She stepped outside, pulled the door mostly shut behind her. "You think this is easy for me?" she said, voice sharp. "You think I haven't been tearing myself apart since the second you walked through that door? Then why not just be honest?" "Because he's my son," she said, almost hissing it. "You're his friend. Do you understand what that means?" "I'm not a kid." "No, but you're not mine either." I took a step closer. "But you want me." That landed. She blinked, looked away, and then, finally, she whispered, "Yes." I felt breathless. She was breathing hard now, eyes glassy. She reached for the railing like she needed something solid to hold on to. "I can't stop thinking about you," I said. "I've tried. It doesn't go away." A beat, the kind that splits things open. And then, the front door opened behind her again. Daniel. This time, he heard everything. Daniel didn't say anything at first. Just stood there, eyes darting between us like he couldn't quite process what he'd heard. Claire turned around slowly, her body visibly bracing. "Daniel, you lied to me." His voice was low, but it shook. That made it worse somehow. He wasn't yelling. He was trying not to. I stepped forward, instinct taking over. "Daniel, it wasn't like that." When he cut in, his eyes didn't leave Claire's. "How long?" "It didn't," she started, but stopped. She looked down, like she already knew how this would go. "It didn't start like anything. I didn't plan for this." "That's not an answer." Silence. He turned to me. "Did you think I wouldn't find out? That you could just sneak around and what? See how far you could push it?" "It's not a game," I said. "It never was." He laughed. Bitter. "You were like my brother." "I still, no. Don't say you still are." His voice cracked. "You knew exactly what this would do to me." Claire stepped in. "Don't blame him. If you're angry, be angry at me." "Oh, I am," he snapped. "Trust me." She flinched. It was subtle, but I saw it. Then Daniel said something I didn't expect. "You think this is new?" His voice dropped. "You think I didn't notice, even back then?" "At the party." She froze. He looked at her like he'd been waiting to say it for a long time. "You watched him like you didn't even see anyone else in the room." "I saw it. I remember it." Claire opened her mouth, but nothing came out. "I didn't want to believe it," Daniel said. "I told myself I was crazy, that it was harmless, that you'd never." He trailed off, his breath shaky. But I was right. The silence that followed felt like a vacuum. Then Claire whispered, almost to herself, "I didn't mean to hurt you." Daniel stared at her, then at me. He shook his head. "You know what? Keep each other. See how that works out." And just like that, he walked back inside. Claire didn't go after him. Neither did I. She stood there, one hand pressed over her mouth, the other clenched at her side. I stepped closer, gently. "Claire." But she didn't look at me. "I should have stopped this before it started," she said, voice hollow. "I should have been stronger." "You still can be," I said. She turned her eyes toward me, red-rimmed, tired. "That's not the kind of strong I meant." Before I could respond, her phone rang. She didn't answer, just stared at the screen. Her hand trembled. "It's my ex-husband," she whispered. "He wants to meet. Says it's urgent." She looked up at me. The space between us suddenly filled with too much history. "I think he knows." We sat in her car. Neither of us spoke. Rain pattered softly against the windshield, each drop like a slow countdown. Claire gripped the steering wheel, even though the engine wasn't running. "I haven't seen him in almost a year," she said finally, eyes fixed on the blur of trees outside. And now he wants to talk. I nodded, unsure what to say. My heart was pounding, but for once, it wasn't about being caught. It was about losing her. What are you going to tell him? I asked. I don't know. She turned toward me slowly. That I made a mistake? I waited, but she didn't say more. I wasn't a mistake, I said softer. Maybe the timing was. Maybe how it happened. But me? This? Don't call it that. Her eyes filled, but she blinked hard, fighting it. I know. We sat there, the air heavy. You don't have to go, I said. She gave a dry laugh. I do. He knows something, and he'll make it ugly if I don't face it head on. For Daniel's sake. For mine. And what about me? I asked. That broke something. She turned her whole body to face me. Don't you think I want to stay? Every part of me is screaming not to get out of this car. But you're 27. You have time to fall in love again. I don't. I'm not waiting to fall in love, I said. I am in love. That stopped her. Silence. Then her voice, so quiet I barely heard it. So am I. I reached for her hand, and this time she didn't flinch. Her fingers laced with mine tightly, like someone holding a ledge. But we can't keep doing this halfway, I said. I'm tired of the guilt. The hiding. I'd rather lose everything than keep pretending this is just temporary. She looked down. You might lose everything. I already did, I said. When you let go of my hand yesterday. That was the worst part. She smiled, just barely, and shook her head. You always knew how to cut right through the noise. A long moment passed. She opened the car door. I need to go meet him. I nodded, heart sinking. But after, she said, pausing. If I walk away from that meeting and I still feel the same, I'm coming back. I'll be here. She hesitated, then leaned in and pressed her lips to my forehead. Not a kiss goodbye, something softer, a promise. And then she was gone. I watched the taillights disappear through the rain, unsure of what came next. But this time, for the first time, I wasn't afraid to wait. She came back 3 days later. No warning, no text, just the sound of gravel under tires and the knock on my apartment door, soft, like she still wasn't sure if she should be there. I opened it, heart in my throat. Claire stood there in jeans and a black sweater, no makeup, her hair pulled back the way it always was when she didn't want to pretend. I told him everything, she said. I nodded, swallowing hard. He wasn't surprised, she added. Not really. He was angry, hurt, but he was more disappointed than anything. Not in me, in you. I figured, I said quietly. He said we broke something. That I broke something. I looked down. Did we? She stepped forward, into the doorway, not inside. Maybe, but I think what was already broken was the idea that love always fits the rules we put on it. I looked at her. She looked tired, raw, but there was something else in her face, too, stillness. I told him I wasn't sorry, she said. Not about you. For a second I couldn't breathe. She finally stepped in, shutting the door behind her. I told him, she repeated, softer now, that for the first time in years, someone made me feel seen. Not needed. Not admired. Seen. She walked closer, and I didn't move. You asked me once if I was going to choose fear or truth, she said. I didn't answer then. But I am now. I took a shaky breath. And she smiled, tired but real. Truth. And then she kissed me. Not rushed. Not perfect. But real. Human. Like everything that came before it. The distance, the risk, the guilt had led to this one, small, steady moment. When we finally pulled apart, she rested her forehead against mine. So what now? I asked. We figure it out, she said. One day at a time. One hard conversation at a time. And Daniel? He doesn't have to understand it right now, she said. But he'll see that this isn't about rebellion or impulse. It's about love. And love, when it's real, has to be respected, even if it doesn't make sense to everyone. I held her hand. I'm scared, I admitted. Me too, she said. But that doesn't mean we stop. We stood there, no need to say more. Just the hum of the city beyond the windows, her thumb brushing the back of my hand. Maybe it wouldn't be easy. Maybe there would be more fallout. But for once, The fear didn't outweigh the feeling. We had chosen each other, not despite everything, but because of it. And that was enough. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Let me know in the comments. Your voice helps shape the next one.